All right, guys, this was meant to be more of a New Year's video, but what I'm about to get into can really be used at any season or point in your fitness journey, especially if you guys just picked up a Total Gym or Slotty Men's trainer. This is going to be a long one. I actually tried recording this earlier, kind of losing my voice here a little bit, but I want to give you guys as much value as possible. So I'd like you guys to watch the whole thing. I did put timestamps down below if you guys want to navigate this and come back to it at a later date. Right up front, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing this content, everything. All the equipment you guys are seeing in this video can be linked down below in the description box if you guys do want to check it out and or support the channel. Now, the overall plan, as you guys can see what the title is this video, is to give you guys a little bit of a jump start with a kind of a template, so to speak, of diet, lifestyle, and total gym training to kind of put you guys on the right track to have you guys lose about, say, 5 to 10 pounds. At least that's what I'm personally going to be shooting for, because as I'll say this throughout the video, I'm going to be following this exact same program myself to kind of keep myself accountable. And I'll allude to this probably again as well, but I made something similar in the fall when it was during that, generally the logical season for people starting to kind of put on weight into the winter, whether that's planned or unplanned. But I made a mass gaining program back then, which I can link down below. That was in a similar kind of a vein. So this is kind of like the next step, or part 2, as we're transitioning into the new year to kind of start gradually taking off some weight. And so as with that video, I will also release an accompanied free PDF with this one that's laid out here for you guys in about less than a week's time. If you guys subscribe to my website at slottymenstrainer.com, you guys can check that out. I promise, unlike the last one, I'll get that out to you sooner rather than later. A lot of you guys know I pretty much gave as much stuff as that way for free. I don't really have a whole lot of products and things for sale. People recommend that I do something like this. So with this one, I actually will put together a detailed paid program if you guys do want to check it out and see exactly what I'm doing along this kind of same realm, taking this kind of template and running with it a little more specifically with my training schedule, pretty much what I'm doing with my sample workouts, what I'm eating, when I'm eating, the supplements I'm using, everything as detailed as I'm going to be using possible that I'm laying out for you guys, I'm going to be building out for myself. So if you guys want to see what that's like specifically and get more detailed on that, I'll put that on my website around, again, pretty much like probably less than a week's time. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Because aside from consultations, the only really thing that I have for sale on my website is my poster, which I heard someone said is out of stock from that website that I use. So apparently they said they're going to be back in stock around February. So if you guys are looking for that workout poster, which is definitely help you with this as well, they'll be back in stock around February. Now, I wanted to make this video ultimately because we're in the prime season of people starting those typical resolutions. A lot of people are looking just for a fresh start to kind of recover a bit from the holiday foods, which generally for me starts for most people tends to start around the fall, around that October kind of that month. But I've also heard from a lot of new people, especially around this time of the year. People tend to get new Total Gyms and Slotty Men's trainers, so they're looking for a way to kind of jump into using the machine successfully. Of course, there's tons of resources on the channel. I want you guys to kind of go through and check those out as well, other programs that you guys can find. If this is you and you got a Total Gym for Christmas, I'm happy you guys found this channel. Hopefully you guys go through the channel more and find some other resources that'll help you guys out. Always just feel free to reach out to me in the comment section or via email. Now, what's going to be laid out here is not a crash diet or an exercise plan where we're just jumping into the new year and we're just going to try and do crash dieting, crash exercise, and just hit the ground running, slam on the brakes, doing a whole 180 and go the other direction. And there's good reason for that, because it's really just not the best course of action. We want this program and just your overall training in general to be sustainable and something we can kind of build upon. And we're still in the winter, at least as I'm recording this. So we got a lot of time until spring and summer come around. Even around those months, there'll be some different things will change in our program, at least a little, at least I will. That'll be manipulated a little bit. But the point is we got a lot of time to lead up to those months. So regardless, whenever you're watching this video, you don't want to just start going crash course, crash dieting, crash total gymming, whatever you want to say. You want to kind of ease into it, and that's going to be the purpose of this video. So you guys can watch us at any point in time, and if you follow all these things, you should be able to easily lose. I shouldn't say easily, but if you follow all these things to at least one or two couple of these bullet points I laid out for you, should be 5 or 10 pounds should come off pretty effectively. And just like I said in that mass gaining program for the fall, I made that for a couple of reasons. One, to give you guys a mass gaining program, but two, because I assume a lot of people are particularly going to start eating around that period of time. So that's when I released it then. And like myself as well, again, no stranger to that, I generally, as I predicted, I always do, put on at least around close to 10 pounds according to my scale. Maybe you guys noticed it in some of the visuals here as you guys are seeing. But I'm not too worried about it, because I know, and you guys can do it as well. You can start now and start taking off some of that weight pretty easily, pretty effectively if you start making some minor adjustments that we're going to get into. Okay, so to break this thing down, we're just going to be doing it in 3 general traditional categories. Some of this stuff might be kind of obvious to you, some of them maybe not, but regardless, I think it's good for everyone to kind of hear this and maybe take advantage of a couple of these things. These are things for me personally, but also things that I found work for most people. We're looking into diet, lifestyle, and of course, your total gym or Saudi bench training. And if you take 1 or 2 or all these things together, incorporate them, all these things are hitting on all cylinders for really good positive progress with this machine. And this is gonna be the last time I'll stress it, guys. I'm doing this along with you. This is the exact same format and template. I'm gonna be incorporating a lot of these kind of things that I'm recommending to you guys. I'm gonna be reincorporating in my own personal life. I'm not anybody special. I'm not following any super strict diet. I'm not super strict with my fitness. I like to keep things very simple and practical. That's always the theme in this channel, because really if they're not simple and practical, I tend to struggle. It kind of overcomplicates my brain, overcomplicates my life. So we're gonna keep it really simple for you guys. All right, first and foremost, talking about diet, guys. Diet, we all know, is vitally important for any of your guys' goals you're looking to hit, whether gain weight or lose weight. Although there's plenty of variables that go into diet, entirely individualized. You guys might be following some specific thing. Maybe there's some foods that agree with you, don't agree with you. So I don't know where you guys are all coming from in everyone's situations. I'm not going to give you guys any specific dietary advice. You guys can take all this stuff and kind of use it at your own discretion. But I think all these things I'm going to be recommending to you guys, you can certainly incorporate in regardless of any diet you're going to be following. But like I said, if you guys want to see exactly what I'm doing, you guys can check out that upcoming program on the website and you guys can see exactly what I'll be eating. But from that big picture, top-down approach, what I want you guys to do with diet is just start identifying, altering your habits, especially going into this New Year's season. If you're looking to kind of change something, odds are you're changing some bad habits that have been there for many years, or these are some habits that started kind of creeping up as we kind of got in the holiday season. A lot of these are very typical for most people. First thing is just think about what are some things you want to add in and or take out. Add in, like, what are some things you know of for you personally are maybe some good foods, some good habits, whether it's drinking more water, having more like fruits or vegetables, something like that, having more protein. And then what are some things maybe you want to eliminate? I tend to focus more on adding in versus eliminating. One, because elimination mentality can be kind of disruptive and kind of leading to like kind of disordered eating patterns. Certainly a lot of fad diets basically capitalize on this, because if you start changing your diet where you only eat meat, only eat like lower fat, or you can't eat animal products, something like that, odds are you're going to lose weight because you eliminated something. So it does work, but I'd rather have you guys focus on those good things, those good habits, and then by default you'll push away all those negative habits that you guys were doing. Snacking between meals is huge. Odds are in the holiday season, and starting in with Halloween around that time, people are snacking and nibbling on things between meals. Give yourself at least 3 set meal times. I tell people at least like 4 if you count like nighttime snack, breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe a snack at nighttime, something else in there. But again, this is totally individualized, up to you guys. But whenever you guys are snacking between whatever meal schedule you guys are doing, try to minimize that or eliminate it. Along the same vein here, alcohol and caloric drinks. Not gonna lie, guys, I don't think it's really, I don't mind it too much. I'm not gonna say it's a health thing to do, but I do like my beer. I like having a beer on most nights of the week before my dinner or with my dinner, maybe 1, sometimes even 2. For me right now during this period, I'm going to eliminate that to a certain number of days, only on certain days of the week. But if it's you, maybe you want to taper back some of that. Again, it could be caloric drinks like soda or juices that you guys are using, but you can fill it with something else. Flavored water, BCAAs is a good use for just kind of mixing in something to kind of help you, also help curbing hunger between meals. The other kind of bullet point here, treats and or meal add-ons, otherwise known as like empty calories. I just say these are things you eat, like either desserts right after a meal or things you're kind of nibbling on before you're starting to get into the meal, like you're just nibbling on some chips while stuff's like cooking, or having like like some hummus and something else. Nothing's wrong with these things, but if you start thinking of like, I'm just going to eat my squared meals throughout the day, odds are you're greatly going to reduce some calories. Limit dining to once a week. There's many people, you guys have heard this, people go out to eat pretty much at every breakfast, could be breakfast, every breakfast, lunch, or dinner. People might have some sort of habit to do, and I know a lot of people that are like that. Nothing wrong with going out and spending money eating out in a restaurant, but we all know generally there's more calories in there. You might not be planning where you're going to be eating, so try and limit that to at least just once a week. I love McDonald's, guys. I'm not afraid to admit it. My whole family does. A treat for us is Sundays going to McDonald's, but as we were traveling a lot, McDonald's was tempting. So even when you do go out somewhere to eat, think about, especially a fast food place, try and find a unique way to kind of minimize that. So I love again, not afraid to admit it, not ashamed to admit it, guys. The double quarter pounder meal. I found that if I just kind of limit that down to like basically a happy meal, like a cheeseburger, small fry, and a drink, honestly, that satisfies me as much as the big meals. So kind of think about what are some staple things you're doing when you go out to eat, but pre-plan it, and how can you kind of reduce that in size a little bit by still getting your kind of fast food fix, so to speak. The next point kind of goes along with that, maximize these ready-made meals or make your own staple food habits. So the first point being that I find across the board, all these diet programs or even like those meal services work really good because people invest that energy and just picking out the meals, or just, I should say, the money that they're investing into it. So they tend to kind of stick with just eating just that meal and that portion, or some sort of plan associated with that from like companies like Home Chef. Factor, I heard, is really cool. I'm not affiliated with any of those companies whatsoever. They're a little pricey, but they're actually worth in the sense that I find people do reduce their caloric intake from that. So tons of different companies out there. You guys can check those out. Another example of that, guys, I've said like, protein bars are great. Protein supplements or drinks can help curb that hunger, or kind of give you guys like kind of like ready-made like snack. My sister gave me a bunch of these like oats overnight packets. Again, not affiliated with them. Really, really good. I thought they were awesome. A little pricey for me personally, but it motivated me to say like, I forgot how good just like oats were, especially like oats overnight or overnight oats, that I'll just make that myself, very cheap. But again, that also allows you to kind of pre-plan where you're going to be eating, say for breakfast or whenever you're going to eat that. So the point is, get your staples of your breakfast, lunch, and make possibly dinner something that kind of like change up a little bit, but find your staples and kind of stick to those. If you don't have staples, start incorporating some. And then keeping protein high, I think, is always important across the board with diet. So that's just because we're going to do a lot of consistent resistance exercise. But on top of that, having protein relatively high always keeps us a little bit more fuller, helps keep us satiated. And I also find some of the protein supplements that are out there, depending if you're not averse to like artificial sweeteners a little bit, I'm not personally. One kind of helps, not just that it curbs hunger, but also is a nice like kind of like treat to kind of look forward to. So also is beneficial. So tons of different things with protein supplements that I could talk about, but I'm a big fan of like flavored and good tasting protein supplements, especially for that nighttime snack or something that you can hold yourself over. All right, getting into lifestyle, guys. I'm not someone telling you how to run your life. I got my own things I'm kind of trying to work on, but based on myself and also talking to people across the board for many years and consulting and working with clients, personal training, and even strength conditioning athletes, these are some basic things I found work for most people, again, during this kind of time of the year in this season. One is stick to or tweak your morning night ritual. We live in a different era now. People work from home, they're working remotely, they have different types of job schedules. So they're a stay-at-home mom or dad, you might have a set schedule of like actually getting to work. But if you don't have a schedule of like, what are you doing in the morning, what are you doing at night, and are you going to bed at a certain time, that's very, very, very important. So if you don't have any kind of schedule, set those. And then I'll get to this later down here in this last bullet point. Maybe I'll jump to it now actually. Focus and assess objectively good and bad uses of your time. By that, I mean, I'm not going to judge you guys. I don't judge anybody if they want to step and watch Netflix. But that can actually take over into your training time. It can take over into your sleep habits and patterns. So objectively assess that good and bad uses of your time, which goes into like screen addiction. Guys, there's a reason I can make a whole video. I should make videos about this. Why I'm not on social media, because not that I'm someone special, but I just know for me, they don't do me really any good. That's an objective use of my time that I personally have found doesn't really help serve me. Other stuff I got to do, I have limited time as it is, and honestly, it just becomes a waste of time for me. So that's something for me that I think, not just for myself, but for a lot of people, actually can hinder their physical fitness progress as well. Increase some non-exercise movement. These are just things throughout the day. If you're like me, guys, I'm doing a lot of work on the computer. I'm sitting down a lot. This is something I'm not very good at, but I'm going to incorporate more of it. So that's just kind of going out for a walk, standing up. I know a lot of you guys may not be able to do this, but especially if you work remotely, at least one time a day, incorporate something that's not considered exercise that you're going to do maybe for like at least 10 to 20 minutes. Again, it could be just standing up, brisk walk around the room, obviously walking outside. The Cellerciser, the little trampoline thing, that's something I used to do. I'm going to break that thing back out as well. And I have on here just read or use like an Audible service. I just find stuff like this with reading and Audible helps people kind of quiet the mind a little bit. And when the mind's a little quiet, and this is getting a little esoteric, guys, I find that people just work a lot better at sticking to their fitness goals and a schedule. If your brain's kind of scattered and kind of all over the place, like it can happen with me very easily, with screen time and computers and apps and all sorts of stuff, we can get distracted, and that distraction can lead us off track on what our goals are going to be. But I find that reading and things like an Audible, if you want to get into like the whole thing of like getting a book a month, I love Audible. I'll actually link that down below too, shameless plug. I think those are great things and get some information and a little bit better uses of our time than just kind of mindless mindlessly scrolling through the internet and things like that. Kind of ironic though, guys. You guys are watching a YouTube video with me, but I love YouTube. That's one of my addictions. So maybe at least keep this channel and watch this channel. Okay, so I'm kind of kidding. If this channel gets you off track, then don't watch me either. All right, guys, I'm getting into training. This is a very simple template. I'm just going to say it straight up, guys. You're into this new year, want to change some things, want to get consistent with your total gym, make stuff easy. I'm just going to say it. There's all different types of templates, a lot of free templates. Do either upper or lower training or do total body training. These two things I find work the best for most people as far as sticking to it with adherence. Some general recommendations for both these. If you're doing upper or lower body training, do it 4 times a week minimum, maybe 20 to 45 minutes of total work time. Or if you're going to opt for the total body training in the workout, do that at least 3 times a week minimum with about 30 to 60 minutes. Do that about 3 times a week minimum for about 30 to 60 minutes. With both of these, you guys will see in the training programs, I want you guys to have just a day off between each of these sessions so you can rest those body parts at least a day. And then cardiovascular activity, I think it's really important, guys, to start just planning this. I'm not always a stickler, but it's something, again, for me personally, as we start transitioning a little bit slowly, cardio is kind of getting a little bit of a back burner with that. I think it's important to do it. Plan it and just do it. I mean, it's very easy, one of those things you may be able to get to it, but the point is tell yourself you're going to do it. Basically, I tell people a good general recommendations, it's sustainable even for me personally, is minimum of 20 minutes vigorous exercise 3 times a week. So vigorous cardio meaning like something that's not considered walking, you're breaking up a sweat, that would be considered vigorous. I mean, to kill yourself, but just something that's a little bit harder. Maybe you have to take a shower after. That's kind of the type of work I'd like you guys to kind of maybe think about. Maybe at least 3 times a week. You certainly could do more. A lot of you guys I talk to do a lot more than that. Then here's some sample templates you guys can look towards basically for upper lower body schedule. You can do upper body on Monday, and then Tuesday lower, then Thursday upper, Friday lower, and then you got the 3 days of cardio scheduled in here. You guys can mix and match that however you guys want to do that. But again, it's totally can be manipulated to your kind of personal reference here. Then getting into a sample workout here, guys, I got tons of different resources, tons of videos on this as well. And if you guys get the free PDF, I'll go in more detail on this. But to make this video kind of short, doing something like a simple chest press, seated row, go to a different type of chest press, do some total gym pull-ups, then finish up with some single joint exercises. And then again, the set range can be up to you, but I would think about just that time limit idea instead of worrying about the exact set range. So if you want to do like a 30 or 45 minute like a set workout, might be a future video talking about this, just kind of stick to that. And then the intensity, again, I can put these in the PDF. You guys will see this, but basically try and choose a rep range that gets you to around, I'm not saying complete failure, but something around that 10 to 20 repetition range. And then here's an example of some lower body exercises, doing some face down squats, single leg squats, maybe get some sort of a hinge or like a deadlift type of pattern in there, glute bridges, some single joint leg stuff, maybe some other single joint leg stuff. But something like that, something very simple, basic, just doing some multi-joint leg stuff along with some single joint leg stuff. And then what a sample total body, frequency and workout would look like, something like this. This actually follows pretty much my workout poster, and I made other examples and videos like this, 2 other programs you guys can find on my channel. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, typical thing. I got the cardio, 3 days of cardio thrown in there as well. And then the workout could be a chest press, some sort of back, or basically a push, a pull. And then you got some sort of leg exercise, and you got some single joint stuff here. And again, you could repeat this thing for many circuits as you want for time. You can add more or less in here. Don't get too hung up on all these little details though. Now I can see as I laid all this out to you guys, that might seem for some people to be overly simplistic and maybe basic. I don't know if it does or doesn't, but the point is that template definitely works. Now again, if you want specifics on that, exactly what I'm going to be doing, I'll put that on the website. I really don't think it's necessary if you guys want to tailor that to your personal needs though. I know some people like that specific guidance. But overall, all we're talking about is tweaking our habits a little bit differently to make it more conducive to a scheduled time of training, scheduled time of what we're eating. We're being more mindful about what we're eating and when we're eating it. If you essentially put together some sort of a structure and you stick to that and lay it out ahead of time as a plan, guaranteed you should start turning it around in a positive direction. Otherwise, if you're not too worried about it, you like doing what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing and postpone and come back to this video a little bit later. So again, I'm still in that winter. I still got my winter suit on, so I'm not too worried about taking this weight off right away. I'm going to be coasting into the spring and summer. That's my plan. Feel free to let me know your guys' plan down below in the comment section. Any other tips that you guys have that can help other people out, they'd much appreciated. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.